Hello, everyone. I've been fairly active on social media over the last few months, and a lot of people have asked me, who are you and why should we listen to you? Well, first of all, you shouldn't listen to me. You should do your own independent research and then draw your own conclusions. But just to give you some background on who I am, I'm a retired Marine infantryman. I served a little over 20 years, had multiple combat tours. I was also a foreign area officer with language backgrounds. And so consequently, as a result of that, I'd a really diverse experience in the Marine Corps, aside from being in the infantry and commanding at the platoon, company, and battalion level. I also did a lot of special assignments, tours in U.S. embassies and whatnot. Then after retiring, I got into business, essentially in the oil and gas sector, and saw the same issues cropping up in terms of leadership that I saw in the military. And so I decided to, exit out of that. And now I'm pretty passionate about these issues. I didn't speak about many of these issues previously because of the ongoing conflict in Afghanistan, and I didn't think it was appropriate at the time to really criticize the military operations that we're conducting, because it could jeopardize the lives of fellow Marines, soldiers, and whatnot. Nonetheless, people have asked me, why am I doing these videos? Well, quite frankly, I'm doing it because, our nation has been at war for the last 80 years and has participated in 80 some conflicts. And then the question you got to ask is, who's benefiting from all this? What's happening? What's going on here? We're spending trillions of dollars. We've got over 800 bases across the world. And what's all this for? Is it to really protect our values and our way of life? And then you look around the United States. This summer, I drove over 15,000 miles across the United States, Canada, went all the way up to Alaska, Prudhoe Bay. And it was really eye-opening because, there's a lot that needs to be done in the U.S. to improve our way of life, our quality of life, but we're spending money overseas. And what are we getting in return for it? I would say nothing. What are we getting in return for the Iraq war? Not much. What are we getting in return for the Afghanistan war? 20 years. And I'll go into detail in later podcasts and talk about, some of the mistakes we made in Afghanistan and some of the mistakes we made in Iraq. And we continue to make these mistakes as we go on. And the people that suffer are really our sons and daughters. As a Marine, as a father of a Marine son, also an infantryman who's also served in Afghanistan, we're sort of mortgaging our children's future for the benefit of the select few. Now, who is the select few? I would submit to you it's the military-industrial complex and the neoconservatives that thrive and profit on war. They've got these massive investment portfolios that they don't disclose, and then they hire, retired generals and admirals to be their spokesperson. And these admirals and generals are on the boards of many of these companies. So it's a vicious cycle that's really mortgaging the future of our children. And so I'm sort of opposed to that. By all means, we should defend the United States. Our Constitution is very clear about that. And I've sworn an oath towards it. But there also should be some thought behind it. And when we're doing something wrong, senior leaders should stand up and say, you know what, this is wrong. And unfortunately, that's not happening. The last person I knew that did that was Lieutenant General Newbold, a Marine general that worked in the J3 in the Pentagon and disagreed with our plan to invade Iraq and with Donald Rumsfeld at the time, and he decided to retire. That's the type of moral courage we need from our senior leaders to try to avoid getting the United States into some of these conflicts and maybe start focusing a bit on the needs of our own country, securing our borders, fighting the drug war. It's an epidemic. You go through California, it's a nightmare now, going through San Francisco, Seattle, and, the unemployment, the lack of health care, the decaying infrastructure. So why are we not spending money on that? Why do we keep spending billions and billions of dollars through the Pentagon on other countries and on wars that we get nothing in return for. And then the Pentagon fails audits. It's the sixth audit in a row the Pentagon's failed. Unacceptable. So in a nutshell, this is who I am. I'm pretty passionate about all this. And I hope to pass on a different perspective to the viewers so you understand and draw your own conclusions. I don't want you to listen to me, but I want you to disagree with me, but let's do it respectfully and allow each other to learn and grow as we move along and for the betterment of our country and the betterment of our children. Now for me, the most important thing is as a grandfather to make sure that we do better as a country, as Americans, for the benefit of our grandchildren. Heck, we failed our children. My son had to go to war. That's a failure. But I hope that my grandchildren don't have to go to war. So in a nutshell, this is who I am. You're welcome to listen to me. I personally, I really don't care about the number of subs and, the views and all that stuff. I'm not in this for the money. I'm very thankful that I don't really need it. So please join me in these discussions, learn from each other, and let's try to avoid some of the pitfalls that we've experienced over the last 80 years in getting engaged our country in unnecessary wars and misadventures overseas. There's an old saying, if we go abroad looking for dragons, we got to be careful because they might follow us home. And unfortunately, that's happening. You've got 44 veterans every day taking their own lives. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So, and these are the things that we don't talk about and that needs to be talked about. So I encourage you to view my channel and have a positive dialogue for the betterment of our country. God bless. Have a good day. Bye.